Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Leanna. Today's inspired by Chrono Trigger. This is a game that I fell in love with as a child. My brother was the one who owned the gaming consoles in our family, but he always let me borrow his games. Chrono Trigger is like a 90s game, so if you grew up around the same time that I did with video games, then you probably have heard about it at least if you haven't played it. And it's just really cool. It has a lot to do with time travel. I'm all about that. I love time travel stories, so I've created 3 looks. 2 of them inspired by texts, aka spells, in the game, and 1 inspired by my favorite area in the game, Zeal Palace. So I hope that you enjoy the 3 looks, and let's just get right into them. This first look is inspired by Chrono's Luminaire and Lightning 2 texts. First up, I'm taking the Pastel Goth palette, and I'm taking a mix of Doom, Gloom, and Skull to get a really pale pastel aqua shade, and that can go all over the lid and up into the crease. To mimic Luminaire, I'm trying to give this sort of a round, domed look rather than making it look angular or winged. Next, I'm taking the Saint and Sinner palette and the shade Relic here, and that's going to go all along the upper lash line. And once we get to the outer corner, I'm going to draw these little curvy lightning bolt shapes to kind of mimic the little lightning bolts in Lightning 2. I am using the shade with a slightly damp brush, by the way, just to intensify the metallic sheen. And you can definitely just leave it at 1 lightning bolt, but I decided to go in with a slightly smaller brush and draw in a second one because there are quite a few lightning bolts happening on screen when you use this technique. I'm also just adding a little bit of that gold shade Relic in the inner corner of each eye. To finish up, I'll just be taking 1 coat of the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. And that's it. A very simple and easy eye look inspired by Luminaire and Lightning 2, 2 of Chrono's most infamous and strongest techniques. This look was inspired by the floating kingdom of Zeal Palace. Starting off with the Pastel Goth palette, I'm taking a combination of the shades Doom and Skull to create a very pale blue. And this is going to go right up against my eyebrows, and this is representing the sky. And I'm just going to go back in with a fluffy brush and soften the edges of that so it doesn't look too harsh. Next, I'm taking the shade Gloom, which is the green, and that's going to go right underneath the blue, connecting to it, just to add a little bit of that grass element into the eye look. And then just softening the edges of the green as well as blending the 2 colors together a little bit. I'm going back in with a little bit more of the blue and the white over top just to make sure that none of it was lost while blending the green. From the Tartelette in Bloom palette, I'm taking this shade here called Jet Setter and putting that all over the lid, connecting up into the green, just to add in some of those brown tones from the ground and the earth. I'm also adding a little bit of that shade in a triangular shape under the lash line,
just because the islands are sort of in a pointed shape. I'm going to take this darker shade here called Activist on a very thin brush and start adding little cracks in the dirt, so to speak. Because if you look at the islands closely, there are little cracks in the earth. And I'm going to try and draw those on just to mimic that. Afterwards, I'm just taking the lid shade Jet Setter and stamping back on over top just to soften the look of those cracks because I don't want them to look too stark in contrast. I'm taking the shade Ministry from the Saint and Sinner palette and I'm going to start drawing in the waterfalls underneath my lash line. So I'm basically drawing around the brown point on the lower lash line, kind of making little rounded areas to kind of represent that it has separate streams and sort of rolling, splashing points of origin, if that makes sense. And I'm then taking a flat brush to pack on the color and create the actual flow of water out from there. Now for some detail work, I'm taking the Annabelle brush tip eyeliner in white. I'm going to start drawing in some clouds between the green and blue eyeshadow. I'm also going to add some of this to the waterfall, just kind of going to make it look like it's frothy. And like the waterfall is kind of rolling and splashing. I'm taking the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Glitter Liner in the shade Pyro and I'm just going to go over the waterfall to make it look like it's shiny, because you know water is wet. For my inner corners, I'm just taking the shade Absolution from the Saint and Sinner palette. To finish off, I'm putting one coat of the Annabelle BigShow Electro mascara on the upper lashes only. And this is the finished look, inspired by Zeal Palace. Maybe not the most wearable look, but accurate, in my opinion. Zeal Palace is one of my favorite places in any video game. This look is inspired by Magus's Dark Matter tech. I'm starting with the NYX Hot Singles eyeshadow in Flirt and just running that back and forth through the crease. Next, I'm taking the shade Exorcism from the Saint and Sinner palette and I'm going to pack that all over the lid, making sure that it's fully opaque because this one takes a little bit of building. Now, I realize that his tech is technically just black and white, but I wanted to go with a dark purple. I'm taking more of the shade Flirt and blending that through the crease again because it's not very pigmented and it disappeared pretty quickly. And then I'm taking this smaller blending brush with the shade Exorcism and just making sure that there aren't any gaps between the two shades. I hadn't put my concealer on at this point. I was waiting until after just in case there was any fallout, so I'm just going to do that real quick. From Siren Noir Cosmetics, I'm taking the shade Sparklemotion on the innermost corner of my eye. I'm also putting that on the brow bone and also on the inner corner, kind of dragging it up to meet the crease color that I had put, that purple shade. I'm taking the NYX Hot Singles eyeshadow in Ultraviolet and running that along the lower lash line. Now I'm taking the Annabelle brush tip eyeliner in white, and I'm going to start drawing triangles on the outer corner of each eye in varying sizes. Also kind of rotating them so they're not all pointing in the same direction. And I'm not too worried about having the triangles match on each side. The idea is just to make it look almost like the triangle is rotating, kind of like it does in the dark matter technique. And next I'm just taking that same eyeliner and dotting on little specks on each eyelid just to give that sort of galaxy effect to each eye. And I'm just drawing over the little dots with the Urban Decay Heavy Metal Liner in Pyro. Finally, I'm just taking one coat of the Too Faced Better Than Sex Mascara. And this is the finished look, inspired by Magus's Dark Matter tech. Magus is one of my favorite characters in the game, and this is one of my favorite techs to use. So, I hope you enjoyed this.
So those were the 3 looks inspired by Chrono Trigger. I'm sure all of my 80s and 90s gaming fans out there will appreciate the time I put into this. And even if you don't know Chrono Trigger, I'm sure some of you will have enjoyed it too. That's it for this Inspired by video, and I hope to see you in the next one. I post Mondays and Fridays here on this channel, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye guys!